The race for Overwatch League Stage 2 Finals is heating up. Seoul's march towards the stage championship gets intense in Week 4. How can the Dynasty overcome the NYXL and London Spitfire teams that shut them down in Stage 1?
Seoul are definitely going to be wondering what the hell is happening to them.
Houston, we have a problem. Will the Outlaws rebound against the red-hot Los Angeles Gladiators?
Wow, the Gladiators, they're starting to figure it out with Fisher.
Plus, we'll give you a seat at our Players Round Table, featuring Jake, Dream Casper, and Baby Bang.
He's always like a next level ahead. You know, he gets in my head, dude. Like, it's like, come on, bro.
And secrets will be revealed in our new dating game, My Mystery Hero. This is Watchpoint.
Welcome to MLG's Watchpoint, everybody. I'm Puckett. You know the crew. It's Monty, Doa, and Mr. X who are gearing up for Week 4 of the Overwatch League Stage 2.
How was your vacation?
Yeah. So good, Golden Boy.
down.
Thank you, sir. Much rest.
you're
so
like-
much SR lost. It was a waste of time.
You're a lot like Gamsu, taking your vacations, you know, in the middle of the league itself.
Yeah. It's a unique strategy. It worked for one of us.
All right, we still have time. There's still time.
Let's get into the
still time to
action here
lose
for
more.
Week 4, guys. And what a week it's going to be for the Seoul Dynasty. Now, Seoul has its toughest test of the stage so far as they take on the NYXL and the London Spitfire. So let's talk about the matchup against New York first. The Dynasty will put their perfect 6-0 record on the line here in Stage 2 against the Excelsior team that has been in first place in the standings since we started this whole thing. So let's talk about the action. Sabiobi leads the team with his Tracer, Mr. XL. How can Seoul's Tracers hang with SBB?
I don't know if they can. Yeah, it's, I've become
Mr. X.
I've become like the New York expert here, just picking them all the time. But no, I don't know how they're able to hang with Sabiobi. In Stage 1, he gave them a ton of trouble. I think, though, they do look a little bit better here in Stage 2, specifically talking about Munchkin. You can see the stats in that Stage 1 matchup. You know, over the course of, the 5 maps that it goes. It's such a fantastic series from Sabiobi.
Look out for Munchkin in this one. Surprising a lot of people with this performance in Week 3. Monty, you've been admiring the game planning NYXL has been doing recently. So how might they game plan specifically for the Seoul Dynasty?
Well, I think we're not going to see that same Tracer versus Tracer dominance from Sabiobi. I think we're going to see them play more like they did against the Houston Outlaws, focusing down on the supports. So I think Sabiobi is going to be heading more towards gunning for Jaehong, probably, like he did with Raucus. And because Munchkin right now has improved so much in this stage that I would not be confident in that shutdown effort once again in the Tracer versus Tracer. I'd go ahead, take it over to the Tracer versus supports instead, and allow Jonak and Arc to take care of themselves, which they've been great at so far this season.
Not had any trouble with that. That's right.
All right, well, let's keep this moving here as the New York XL took the first series. It went to Game 5, though, back in Stage 1. Now the support roles have changed up a little bit in the new meta. Which support duo has the advantage here, Doa?
Well, it's a really interesting matchup to look at, actually, because as far as these duos go, obviously Seoul has benefited a lot from the meta change, and Toby does have the best Lucio in the world. We do see a little bit more Lucio here, less Mercy that Seoul struggled with anyway. But I gotta say, if you look at New York, Arc and Jonak right now, I think this is actually the best duo in the Overwatch League, especially because Jonak is the best support in the Overwatch League. Yeah, Jaehong's a great Zenyatta, but he's not really been able to bring that legendary Ana back. Toby's been playing it. Meanwhile, on the New York side, we've got this incredible Zenyatta from Jonak. Tons of picks for days. He keeps himself alive, and Arc can play the Zenyatta. They pair up very nicely. It's hard to dive them. I think it's tipped in their edge.
Do you guys agree here with Doa? Is Jonak the best support in the league right now?
I do. I think what he adds to this team in terms of just overall damage, it's just sick. But I think he is able to do what he does because Arc can play the Lucio and the Ana at a high level. He never has to switch off the Zen. Arc, I think the surprising thing for me has been how good his Ana's been.
I think that's been the surprising thing for everybody. It even seems like his teammates were surprised hearing some of his comments and his interviews saying, I didn't even know I could play Ana this well, neither did my teammates. Also for Jonak, it does help a little bit when you're getting that nano boost on the Zenyatta.
Thanks, buddy.
A little bit extra damage there.
I gotta say, though, it kills me to say this because I've been like the biggest Jaehong fan for well over a year now, but you gotta look at reality right now.
You're the
guys.
bigger Zenyatta fan, and Is there anything?
That is true.
Is
the
there
most
anything,
bloodthirsty gets my loyalty.
Is there anything that tickles your fancy more than a nano boosted Zenyatta fragging out?
My fancy has been so tickled by Joe Knight.
Thoroughly tickled.
We can't talk about that on this show. Let's keep it rolling here. The Dynasty gets London on Saturday, and the positive side of this tough week for Seoul is that they have 2 days between their New York matchup and the matchup against the Spitfire. Also, we know they're going to be playing Hanamura and Gibraltar twice next week, so it's not the toughest turnaround in terms of preparation. Monty, we've got some stellar DPS duos. Let's talk about who you think has the advantage coming in.
I think in terms of DPS duos, now this assumes certain things, such as London not playing the GC Busan roster, and we're not going to see Hureg. I think you definitely pull out both Prophet and Birdring for this one. And if that's the case, if it is Prophet and Birdring versus Fleta versus Munchkin, I do hand the advantage over to London. They're simply more versatile in the number of team compositions and DPS pairs that they can run with these two players. And we came into the Overwatch League saying, this is the best DPS duo in the world. It still is true.
I like your pick right there. You can never go against Birdring.
No, you can't.
He's going to be playing all day long. Enjoy the show. Well, we talked about DPS. Let's go back to the supports here, and specifically with Lucio. In the new patch, we've seen a lot more Lucio, so Mr. X, who do you see winning the Lucio battle? How does it all shake out?
I think this is a lot closer than people expect between Nuss and Toby. You know, Doa mentioned that Toby, the best Lucio in the world. If you take a look at the numbers, look how close these two players are. I mean, what, just like 100 healing, 600 hero damage, and then basically the same in limbs and deaths. By the way, London has also set Nuss in a lot of their easy or so games for, closer and a Hagapun instead of Bedosin. So you think, Nuss's numbers may be even better if he plays those matches. I think this is a pretty equal matchup. I think it just comes down to whether London actually plays these guys or not.
But so much about Lucio is like sound barriers provided, it's environmental elimination.
The boots are the unseen stat that Toby crushes everybody
in. Expert.
It's all about the right click.
It's all about the boobs.
You don't need to be a support main to see what Toby does on this Lucio, man.
It really is about clutch plays and timings on Lucio, and that's not always conveyed via the numbers.
And you have to throw in there, too, that Toby and Jaehong have one of the longest-lasting synergies in terms of support duos in Overwatch, and they're so good at it.
I would agree with that, but I think when you see Nuss in the game for London, he makes them much better, just like how Toby makes Seoul better. I think they're pretty close.
They have to settle this with a 1v1 Lucio on the well. It's the only way to get it done. All right, well, that's coming up in the All-Stars later this year, hopefully. For now, we got to talk about another great matchup we're going to see on Thursday, and that's going down between the Houston Outlaws and the Los Angeles Gladiators. Now, these two teams are headed in opposite directions in the standings. The Outlaws have lost 3 of 4, with that one win being a map 5 against Florida. The Gladiators on the other side, well, they had their coming out party last week and are now currently in 3rd place after a perfect 2-0 in week 3. So let's talk about the individual matchups here. What are we looking forward to seeing first, Mr. X?
For me, it's got to be the main tank battle between Fisher and Muma. I think those two players are at, the top of the main tank ranks right now. We've seen what Fisher has added to this LA Gladiators lineup. He's really made them like a forceful team to be reckoned with in the standings. And I think Muma's just been consistent throughout all of Overwatch League this far. I think it's going to be incredible to watch.
Looking forward to this tank battle. Real quick, Doa, who do you weigh in there? Fisher, you were all on him yesterday, last week, rather.
How can you not pick Fisher, right? I mean, I did predict the Gladiators to beat Valiant. They did. Not in the way that I predicted them to do it, but it was still in big part the fact that Fisher's an amazing tank player.
Another part of that was Asher's play on Tracer. It looks like he's really stepped it up coming into Stage 2. So let's talk about how that new play from Asher could help the Gladiators against Houston. How's this one play out, Monty?
Well, we can take a look at some of these stats from Stage 1 to Stage 2 for Asher, and there's not a massive difference in the actual numbers, but what really is different is when we watch him play with the rest of his team. A lot of times previously when he watched him, he seemed like an independent agent moving around on his own in Stage 1. Yeah, he's picking up the kills, but it wasn't the synergy you expect. Now that Fisher's on this team, you're seeing much better communication and coordination between Fisher and Asher to make impactful kills, the right kills.
Yeah, and if you look at Asher too, that's maybe the person that the Houston Outlaws are going to look for the most in terms of who they need to handle in this matchup, right? We've talked endlessly, it seems like at this point, about how Houston doesn't really have a strong Tracer player right now. So, okay, we've established that that doesn't change the fact that you need to handle the Tracer on the other side. And with Asher coming at you, that becomes more important than ever. So I feel like, maybe those picks, McCree on Linkser, even though it's been kind of up and down with that pick for him, they need to do something to handle Asher. That should be one of the top priorities. Because, I think if you look at the tank matchup, Muma's got a shot in the 1v1 against Fissure. So Tracer's where you're going to need to focus.
Well, if you're a Gladiators fan, I know you're going to be cheering on Asher. And, of course, we're looking forward to that matchup. Houston needs to stop the bleeding. We could see the Gladiators start to run away with this one. And one player for Houston that needs to step it up in this matchup in particular is Jake. The man with his first name in his handle hung out with Baby Bay and Dreamcasper to talk shop in our first episode of the Player Roundtable.
We are here, finally ready to get things started in our inaugural season of the Overwatch League.
I feel like the biggest thing about the Overwatch League is that it's just like definitely an unprecedented grind in terms of like you have to, that's like a marathon, you got to be ready to go the distance.
I was just about to say that. Like the biggest difference to me is like, you used to have a tournament and then you could practice and like you'd have like a month maybe to practice, 2 weeks to practice, counter other teams, and now it's like, dude, you have like 2 days and then you're already in.
Once you get done with the tournament, like sometimes you'll have like a day to prepare for the other one, or sometimes you just go straight into the next day. You're like, oh, okay, now you gotta prepare as fast as you can for this next day tournament.
Welcome to yet another glorious day of Overwatch here at the league.
It's definitely cool in terms of like you really see teams pushing each other to a higher level. Like, like one strat will work the first week and then everyone will be countering it, and then the next week that strat will be countered. So it makes the competition, I think, really intense, which is pretty cool.
Wow, Jake is becoming the hero of Houston here, man. He is coming up clutch.
A big thing, I think, as a DPS player, the cast and the casters like, oh man, what a huge play, and you realize that you didn't really do anything. Like your teammates like just destroyed, but you just you got all the kills in the kill feed or whatever, so it looks really good.
I don't think I've seen that in a long time. That was filthy!
I feel like there's a lot of pressure on us, because like sometimes the camera's always on you, so like, if you're like whiffing a bunch of shots, everyone's gonna make fun of you, but then if you land the shots, you do a crazy play for your team, it like really makes or break a game in that moment.
I feel like you have to be enabled by your team. Like you can shine individually, but if your team isn't there,
you're just not,
it's
not
going to
be successful.
It's not going to matter. As a DPS,
like these plays only happen because your team support you from like the behind the scenes, basically.
They open it up for you, and then you have to take advantage of it.
Oh, Baby Bay on fire.
It's all too easy for this man.
There's so many good players, but the one I think that stands out the most to me that I followed for a while was like Fleta. Like, he's like so flexible in so many roles, and not only that, his game sense is just really high. So like I learned a lot from watching him play. It's not about like out aiming your opponent, so like it's about outsmarting them now, and like he outsmarts a lot of his opponents, I think.
Fleta, this guy is insane.
If you're gonna beat Soul, you have to stop Fleta.
For me, it's Birdring. Like I've never played against a player that like, it doesn't matter what I'm playing, it just feels like he's always like a next level ahead. Like if I'm playing Widow and he's playing Widow, he just knows where I am. I don't know how. Yeah. I mean, maybe he uses his team better, scouts better. He gets in my head, dude. Like it's like, come on, bro.
Baby on the side.
Oh, that's a shot. That is devastating.
Birdring continues to reign supreme.
For me, it's got to be Pine in terms of like just crazy DPS, because I think Pine's like the one player who he's just in like the worst position and like there's no explanation. I think he's the one to just hit most unreal shots.
Big Boss Pine is on the scene. Oh!
Just gonna kill everybody.
I definitely got to hand it to Blizzard. I feel like they're like doing a bang up job in terms of like new league, never before done. There's not really any good model for this.
Kind of like a test run too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're just like, this is like the first shot, like first draft basically, and I think they're doing a really good job of it. Like the content's really fun and engaging. Like the actual experience of being there live, I think is like way more impressive than I would have expected.
It's sick.
We've been blessed with excellent Overwatch, and it's only going to get better from this point on.
I think it's also cool, like compared to other sports, people watch it, but they can't really play it. But like compared to ours, like people watch it, but they can't play it no matter like the age or like or what you do. Everyone can really connect to the pro players, and it's like really nice to have that feeling.
They have put together something pretty incredible.
That's I think one of the coolest things about us all like living in LA together, at least for the beginning, is that like forever after, I think even once people move off to their cities, there's gonna be like I think a spirit of camaraderie, at least for people who played in season 1 of like, yeah, we all like kind of did this cool thing together, and I think that's definitely unique. Like no one's gonna have that after season 1.
What did we do to deserve such incredible Overwatch?
Great to see players from different teams bonding over the league.
Hold on. Why would you call it player roundtable when you can call it nerds of the round table instead? I was going to push that out there.
Well, all right, next time. Next time. We can do this again.
Yeah, we're all nerds. We're all nerds.
We're all
on
nerds.
this show. Well, in that show, we did get a chance to see Baby Bay, and lately it's more of his DPS counterpart that's been tearing up the scene. The shock has been on fire when this man is heating things up, and that's where we start the 6-stack today. Dante! His hero damage on Tracer led the league in Stage 1 and is currently ranked second in Stage 2 with over 8,800 per 10 minutes. Monty, is Dante the most underrated Tracer in the league right now?
I think he's starting to get some of the recognition that he deserves, but he's also improved massively. If we look at him from the preseason, oftentimes ignoring other DPS players, making positional errors that left him vulnerable, he now seems to have a much better global sense of positioning where everyone on his team and the enemy team is, and he's really fragging out right now. We look at some of his recent matches, 48-1 in Route 66 against the Dallas Fuel. He didn't have as good of a game against New York, which we can expect given the skill disparity between the two teams, but he still has had a huge improvement over the season, and I definitely think people need to start taking notice.
All right, well, the Mayhem swagger is finally spreading from their entrances to the actual gameplay. They went 1-1 in Week 3, picking up a win against one of our two Texas teams. And with the arrival of Zappis and reinforcements like Saya Player and Awesome Guy on their way, Mr. X, what is Florida's ceiling this season?
Well, look, I think they're already starting to get better. I think, Zappis comes in and brings some positive vibes to this team. Saya Player and Awesome Guy are going to come in. I think they're going to start on this lineup whenever they get here. I think they're that good. I think they can climb up a little bit in the standings. Obviously, knowing where they are now, there's really only one way they can go. I don't know if they make a push for the playoffs. I think they have an opportunity to, but I think they may have dug themselves into too deep of a hole right now.
Next up are the Shanghai Dragons. The bad news is that they're still winless after 8 weeks of action, and their star player Dia is in China due to a family emergency. The good news, though, is that their 4 new signings, Gigori, Sky, Fearless, and Addo, will arrive before March 31st, just in time for Stage 3. Doa, we're going to ask you to circle a date for us on the calendar. When will the Dragons get their first win?
I've got one. You ready?
Yes.
I've got it right here. Their first win, I don't know if you can see this, April 4th, 2018. That will be the first day of Shanghai Dragons win a match. They play against Dallas in the first match on the first day of Stage 3. I think that's a great opportunity for them to show what their new additions have, what they bring to the table, and to maybe bring sort of a surprise against a softer opponent. So I think if they're ever going to get a win, this is going to be the day.
I like that. A 4/4 is a fraction. Let's keep it going here. We discussed before that Kareev played support on the Valiant in Stage 1. When the team hired MBC as their coach, though, they moved Kareev over to DPS for Stage 2, and so far it's working out pretty darn well. Mr. X, was moving Kareev from support to DPS the best lineup change we've seen in the Overwatch League so far?
I think in this meta, I think it is. I think when you need a 76, a Widow, and you want to keep Soon on Tracer, I think Kareev is the only one who can play those heroes at a top level that's on this roster. So I think it is the best roster move or lineup change we've seen thus far.
It's no secret that the Dallas Fuel is lacking in top-tier tank play, especially after the release of XQC. The Fuel recently announced, the signing of OGE, who played tank for Conbox in Apex. The team is hoping to get a boost from OGE, and he tweeted that he will be a positive influence on this team with his leadership and teamwork. Monty, will the addition of OGE finally stabilize the tank position for the Fuel?
I don't know, Puckett, because you wouldn't have thought they would be in this situation in the first place, right? We had Coco, we had XQC, we had Taimu moving over to the tank.
Yep.
Hopefully, I will say this will stabilize it. I do know, even though you saw in that tweet a lot of people, he seemed to think that there would be some controversy with this signing. He certainly is not one of the better-known Korean tank players. But from my personal interactions talking with the members of the Dallas Fuel, they really believe that his attitude and his drive towards improvement and being a great teammate are the biggest contributors that will see him improve and lead their team to success. And I'm certainly hoping, as are we all, I am sure, that this tank problem for Dallas finally gets resolved.
Wrapping up the 6-stack after trading Fissure to the LA Gladiators earlier in Stage 2, London signed former Apex Runaway member TZ to fortify their tank position. Doa, what kind of impact will he make on the Stage 1 champions, the Spitfire?
I don't know, Puckett. Actually, I think we can make a little bit of a prediction. It's hard to say, right? This guy did make it to the Apex Finals in Season 4, which, interestingly enough, he played against Gesture in. And at the time, Gesture said, the only other tank that's on my level is Fissure. This TZ guy doesn't even rate. But now when TZ gets picked up in the announcement from Dallas, he said that he's excited to learn from Gesture and kind of improve his tank play. And I think if you look at the way London plays, the way they like to split up their rosters, this is just a really good way for them to have a main tank for that maybe GC Busan core roster and get Gesture kind of to play only with the A team. So I think that's kind of the main point, is to help them further split their roster.
Don't make Gesture play 24/7. Seems like a good rule of thumb. All right, well, London is one of the tough tests for the Seoul Dynasty that will face off in Week 4. New York XL also going to be playing against Seoul, and now we get a chance to hear from the players and see what they think is going to happen in the matches with a little side of trash talk.
Seoul Dynasty is now the only team which is still undefeated.
You look at your calendars like, oh no, New York XL is going to be sick.
Seoul Dynasty versus the New York XL.
스테이지 1보다 일단은 더 좋은 성적으로 달리고 있긴 한데 방심하면 안 될 것 같아요. 수비적이다, 공격적이라기보다는 약간 서울은 또 하나의 카테고리 같은 느낌인 것 같아요.
Unbelievable. They may be able to do this to withstand the attack.
서울이다. 맞아. 이름 다 가려놓고 픽만 봐도 얘 세울이다 하는 느낌 있어.
They've got the guts and confidence in themselves to pull it off. The Excelsior on the rise.
단단하게 팀합적으로 제일 잘 움직이는 팀인 것 같아요.
서울 생각하면 이제 류재홍 선수와 플레타 선수가 떠올라.
Fleta gets the job done.
잘하는 트레이서가 좀 많아서 세별비 선수는 리그 내에서 탑3 안에는 무조건 된다고 생각해요.
성적이 많이 우린 최고라 하시죠.
일단 전담 마크를 좀 안 시키면 좀 까다로운 선수라서 아마 전담 마크를 하지 않을까 생각합니다.
Saebyeolbi with key DPS frag right there.
That was a huge kill.
서울은 서울 같은 게 약점 같은데 느낌이 너무 서울스러워요. 좀 덜 서울스러우면은 더 강한 팀이 될 텐데 딱 너무 서울스러워서 좀 더 약하는 거지.
But what an impressive performance from Seoul. You can never count these guys out of any fight.
런던이 일단 뉴욕이 수비적인 팀이라면 런던 좀 공격적인 팀이라서
저희는 하이브리드입니다.
준비를 많이 해 오셔야 될 것 같아요.
London Spitfire Seoul Dynasty.
It's a battle of behemoths.
프로피 선수도 견제해야 되지만 버디링 선수를 좀 더 조심해야 될 것 같아요.
플레타 선수가 잘하는 건 맞지만은 저희가 흐름을 타면은 저희 팀 딜러도 더 잘하기 때문에
Birdring somehow finds a shot on Fleta.
그렇게 굳이 무섭진 않아요.
일단 비두신 선수가 굉장히 공격적으로 플레이를 하는데
애초에 서울팀 약점은 런던 스피파이어이기 때문에
The Spitfire are out there doing aerial acrobatics.
하던 대로 하면은 이길 것 같습니다.
저희가 런던 상대로 아직 1점도 아직 못 딴 상태인데요.
이번에는 좀 살살해서 1점 정도는 드릴게요.
이제 이번 스테이지에서는 저희가 1점이 아닌 4점을 꼭 가져가겠습니다. 기대하세요.
Strong team, man. It is going to be tough to stop these guys.
우리가 더 잘합니다. 그래? 그럼 될 것 같은데요.
일단 지금 뉴욕팀 분들이 1위 자리가 좀 위태위태한데 저희가 이번 스테이지는 꼭 1위 자리 가져갈 테니까 조심하세요.
그냥 서울이 연승을 지금 달리고 있는데 한번 무너질 때가 되지 않았나.
There are 3 giants in this league: New York, Seoul, and London.
We'll see who's able to back up the talk this week. The Dynasty can pull even in season record with a win over New York. London will be rooting for New York in that one, as they could have a chance to pass the Dynasty in the standings if Seoul drops both matches. Welcome to My Mystery Hero, the only dating show that pairs eligible bachelors with mystery players from the Overwatch League. I'm your host, Chris Puckett, and here's how it works. Our bachelors will hear pitches from 2 mystery players from a specific Week 4 matchup. He'll then select one of these 2 to be his date. What happens on that date? Well, nothing, because there is no actual date. Let's meet our first bachelor.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm looking for a real straight shooter, but no one too controlling, though, unless, of course, it's a control map.
Okay, let's hear about our first matchup. On Thursday, it's the Florida Mayhem against the Los Angeles Valiant. The Mayhem want to find someone who respects them, while the Valiant are on the rebound after getting hurt by the Gladiators. Now let's meet our mystery heroes.
Hi, Matt. I'm a Tracer player from Europe, and I'm in the top 5 in solo kills this stage. I like long walks on Route 66, and I'm looking for someone smart that I can communicate with.
I'm also a Tracer player from Europe, and I'm also in the top 5 in solo kills. This stage, I'm looking for someone who can keep up with my fast pace. If I blink, you might miss me.
I think I'm going to go with Hero 1. Hero 1 there.
You're going with Hero 1.
Yeah.
It's Logix. Fantastic choice here, Matt. Very well done. Congratulations to you two. I know it's going to be a fantastic date. Let's take a look at the numbers for Logix and Soon. Both players are in the top 10 Tracers in hero damage and final blows. And they mentioned both players, they're in the top with the solo kill numbers. They're going to be in the top 5. That's good enough for me. Let's move on to our next matchup. Saturday night, we'll see a clash between the Dallas Fuel and the Philadelphia Fusion. The Fuel just got out of a bad relationship, while the Fusion want to find someone who looks at them like a top team. Now, let's meet our second bachelor.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing? Well, guys, I'm Eric. I own my own miniatures painting service, and I'm looking for someone to support me while I pursue my dreams.
I hope we can find you someone special. Good luck with that. Eric, let's meet our mystery heroes.
Hi, Eric. I love you, Doa. I'm 26 years old, and I'm from Spain. I'm used to being very supportive, so I think we'd be a great match. I'm second in the league in final blows as Lucio. I play support, but sometimes I feel more like a roadhog.
Wow.
I am too 26-year-old support from Spain. I do the most damage as Lucio in the league, and I love to gaze at the planets from Horizon Lunar Colony.
Ooh, very good options here. So a couple of supports to choose from. What's your question for your mystery heroes?
I do have a follow-up question. I'm kind of a family-oriented person, so my question for the contestants is, if we were meeting my parents for the first time, what would you say to them?
I'd tell them that I also love playing Soldier 76, the dad of Overwatch, so I'm going to be a great parent.
I would tell them that although I don't play any Soldier 76, I'm a very supportive person, but I'm very aggressive at the same time.
All right, so who has it? Who's it gonna be? Hero 1 or Hero 2?
I think for me, it's got to be Hero 1, He's the dream dad I've always been looking for.
Great choice right there. Looking at the numbers, Harry Hook is the man, and as you compare him to Neptuno, we see that Neptuno does have the lead in most categories, and his hero damage done is best in the league for Lucio. This stage, though, Harry Hook is not far behind. He does finish more kills than Neptuno per 10 minutes, so let's go ahead and move on to our final matchup. The San Francisco Shock will take on the Houston Outlaws on Saturday. The Shock are looking for some stability in the win column, and the Outlaws are hoping to find that special lineup that works in this meta. Now, let's meet our third bachelor.
Hello, I'm Christopher, also known as Monte Cristo. I'm really interested to meet a flexible DPS player that's okay with experimenting with many different heroes.
Very spicy, Christopher. Okay, we have time for 2 more heroes, so let's go ahead and meet them now.
Hi, Christopher. I love getting ill on Ilios, and I'm second in the league in hero damage per 10 minutes this stage. You like a flashy sidekick, I'm the one for you.
No, you want flexible? I'm the most flexible DPS player in the West. You might think I would play McCree, but I actually don't that much. My numbers don't always represent how good I am, but I'm the chain that keeps my team together.
All right, Christopher, you get 1 chance for a question for our mystery heroes today.
What is the nicest thing that I could say about you? What's your biggest compliment that I could give?
Man, you could just say I'm the best player in the league. I believe it. It's just whether everybody else believes it or not.
I guess you could say, I'm the best player on my team, and I have the ability to carry them back to glory.
Very nice stuff. Okay, Mr. Christopher, it's time to make your decision. Will it be Hero 1 or Hero 2?
I think Hero 1 sounds sexy today.
Baby Bay, a fantastic choice here for Christopher. Let's look at the numbers for these guys, starting with Baby Bay. He actually ranks higher than Linkser in most DPS categories this stage. Now, both gentlemen are in the top 10 in elimination participation, and we'll see who gets the better of who on Saturday. In the Battle of LA Part 2, Doa's going shields up.
I admit it's a bit of a gamble.
I'll let you go for a little bit.
I think Valiant has looked a bit up and down so far.
The Valiant have the stronger tanks, they have the stronger DPS, and the stronger supports in this matchup. How in the world are the Gladiators going to win?
It's just the fissure effect. It's just the fissure effect.
LA Gladiators will win round 2 of the battle for Los Angeles.
Big win for the Gladiators.
So weird that Doa got to call the Gladiators winning there.
Where was the one where he lost? But these guys predicted.
That was the important one. The Battle of LA was the important one.
They predicted Houston to beat the Valiant. Where was the one where we were talking about that I got right?
I'll get you, Monty. Let me read my script. You ready? It was an interesting week for predictions.
They got my picks wrong.
First, we give a props to Doa. Doa, you made some strong moves here. You picked the Gladiators over LA, but Monty jumped back out in front by taking the Valiant over the Outlaws.
No fun, Monty.
68 out of 144 matches chosen correctly by Monty so far. So let's talk about week 4. That number was totally made up. Monty's more around 70%. Monty, let's get into our Wednesday matches because it looks like all 3 of you like Boston over Dallas. You also have the Fusion over Shanghai. But in the biggest match of the day, Monty, you went with New York alongside with Matt. Doa, you're trying to gain some ground here. What's the Soul pick about?
Well, I mean, the thing is, here's the stuff, all right? So, Monty, I know you're going to say a lot of intelligent things, and I agree with you on all the points you're going to make. I really do. But I have a gut feeling. I have the same gut feeling I did when Lunatic High started getting really good. This team has made up a lot of those people, and I've got that same vibe this time around. They're going to win.
Gut feeling and vibe. I like it.
Weak argument.
Monty?
Get it, Monty.
So are you trying to communicate that you don't need to say anything? That I'm going to prove myself wrong?
Well,
by
actually,
what I'm
now
saying? I don't think that's going to happen.
You said
I'm not going to be on the rewind next week. There we go.
You might get
not
as a winner.
Right.
Not as a winner.
I'm going to give Doa the point here for speaking during your first phase. Thank you. All right, it looks like you guys all copied each other's homework here for Thursday. New York over Shanghai. We got the Valiant over the Mayhem and the Red Hot Gladiators over the Houston Outlaws. Great picks across the board, and that is going to do it for our predictions. We have 4 awesome days of action coming your way. It all starts Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on OverwatchLeague.com and the Overwatch League app. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.